questions for Coach Stockton.
Coach, just about the time on everything. Do you remember that first phone call that Coach Binford made you, and what was that like?
It was different. She called and presented an opportunity that I hadn't expected. And so my first thought was there's just no time. I do have a busy life. If anybody that's retired can tell you that it's more busy than working full time because there's no shut off. And she thought that there's just no way. And as we talked and talked, that wanted to take a serious look at it.
What was the convincing factor? What did she say?
Well, the convincing factor, frankly, is Lindsay, my daughter Lindsay. It's an opportunity for me to be around my daughter. We've had some great times around basketball. I've been the assistant coach for her teams, exception the last 3 years since she's probably a fourth grader, since I retired. And we've had some great times. This is an opportunity most dads don't get, and Coach Binford provided.
Familiarity with several other girls on the team too, was that a deciding factor as well?
Absolutely. Well, the familiarity in a lot of ways. And I coached Tricia Dawkins a long time ago with an AAU group. I coached Hannah Caudell since she was a second grader or third grader, and Delaney for a few years with the Sandpipers as well. And love those girls. They're all great girls. They're going to work hard. They're good players, and again, I get to maintain that relationship with them. But also, as a fan of the Cats here for the last 3 years, gotten to know these girls that are part of the Cats organization, and that's been fun. So I don't feel like a stranger. I think the girls know me. They've been over to our house, and we went to the Bahamas, as Tricia mentioned, and I feel comfortable with these girls.
What do you think you can bring to this coaching staff?
I don't know. I think that's maybe part of the fun of this, is you don't always know. Certainly a sounding board for Coach Binford. We're clearly of the same nature. We love to talk about basketball, and just in our short conversations, our long short conversations of late, we've shared a lot of information, and some will be taken and used and some won't, but it's fun to just share with somebody who's coaching at a high level, and throw ideas out that I've had, and kind of see where they bounce off the wall.
Sounds like still putting together the logistics as far as how often you'll be here and things like that. Realistically, what are your expectations?
Well, my wife Nate and I, one of our systems is with our kids. We have 6 kids, and they all play sports, and all but one are still playing sports. And we kind of prioritize a little bit. And when one of our children is senior in college, they get the priority sign. So that's where Lindsay fits right now. And we were going to try to get to as many games as we could, just on our own as fans. And I think had it been a different year, I don't know if this would have been doable. But knowing that we're going to try to get to most of those games anyway, we're not turning our back on the rest. My son still has a huge priority being a high school player, and the other boys are playing professionally, and my daughter at Gonzaga. There's plenty of games to see, but that's not all life is too. It's you need to be there for just being human, being a part of the family, not just go to games.
You watched Lindsay, of course, the past 3 years, like you said. But have you spoken to her, as just not as a coaching capacity, about her playing? How is this going to change what you tell her?
I don't think it'll change anything. Lindsay and I are very straightforward with each other, have been for a long time. We talk about a lot of things. Some of our best conversations have been about her classes that she takes here and what she's taking from those, and I thoroughly enjoy it. We have great conversations. Basketball is obviously a huge part of it. She's been yelled at by me before. She's been corrected by me before, and I think I've probably taken a few shots back from her. There's nothing we can't get through.
Where do you think her game can improve?
I every way. I got asked that a lot when I was playing. What do you need to improve? Everything. There is nothing that you can't get better at. There's nothing that you can't progress at. I think with that in mind, I think she certainly fits into that. There's nothing that doesn't need improving, and I think she's up for it.
With coaching and where you're at, which is coaching, I think you've done some AAU, you've done some high school as well. Is this kind of a good step for you to move into the college ranks a little bit, and where do you feel like this is in your career, just in coaching?
Well, I don't know whether I have a career in coaching or not. I've enjoyed my time. I've only been an assistant with the girls anyway at a number of levels. Working with college athletes isn't unique. I've worked with players from time to time that just call me up and say, stuff. So I feel comfortable with the transition. I would, even if it was the first time. I love this game. It's a great game and a lot to share.
What do you enjoy most about coaching?
I think first and foremost, the relationship. You can't just come in and start spewing out information. That's not how it works. I think you get to have a relationship with fellow coaches, with players, and that stuff you take with you long after you're done. And once you have that, then I think everything's an open book. You can say what you want, and they can absorb what they want. I think everybody kind of hopefully improves and gets better as a group.
Expectations high this year, given the amount of veterans Montana State has coming back. How do you hope to add to that mix, and what are your expectations for this group of girls?
I've never, even when I played, I never had an expectation in terms of numbers or even wins or anything like that. I think the process is the most important part. Celebrating the victories that lead to victories. Doing things right. When you do things right, eventually those victories tend to show up. And that's what I think I can help bring to this group is that I intend to help them celebrate those small things that help teams win.
Seems like since you retired, you've been relatively out of the spotlight, focused mainly on family. It sounds like this puts you a little bit back into the spotlight. But can you talk about what your life has been like since retirement and kind of stepping away from things?
Well, it's really been my first year out. We moved back to Spokane and I coached 8 teams. I was assistant coach for all 8, I think, and that was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do, to try to transition from working with some college kids and then walk out of that practice and go work with high school kids and walk out of that practice and go start a Y League ball with second graders. That's a brain twister, and so that I did a lot of that. I've maintained certain businesses and things that we've tried to do, and right now I'm working on a huge project with my oldest son, Houston, who's a Grizz football player, and that requires a lot of time. It's a little construction project in Spokane. So my life's very busy, but I can't always explain what it is that I've done in a given day. I just know I get home and I'm tired.
What is it about whether you have 5 kids still playing and you're coaching all these other teams? What is it that drives you to you could prioritize just watching kids or just coaching, or maybe a little bit of both, but it seems like you try to do as much of both as you can.
My dad laughs at me and my wife often that I overbook, and I try to do a little bit of everything. I try to find those compromises that don't appear to be there, and so that I can enjoy a little bit of both. So I've coached a lot, and yet I've seen a lot of games, and we've also seen a lot of concerts and car rides, and things that are important that are outside the world of sports. But what I have to offer most is a career sports, particularly basketball. It wouldn't do me any good to go out there and try to teach math, although I've helped with a lot of grade school math of late. So it's something I do have to offer, and I'm looking forward to it.
So with all the different things, where is this new assistant coaching job in the list of priorities?
When I'm here, it's a top priority. When I'm not here, I've had to compartmentalize. As I mentioned, when I coached the 7 teams, you have to be able to shut off that practice and go to this one because it's just different. And I think the same will be true with this. Is I'll hop on the plane to get here, and that your mind. My mind will spend a lot of time completing the things I haven't completed and getting those organized so that I can have my full attention here when I'm here.
All the media attention that this is likely to garner across the Big Sky Conference, how will you deal with that in terms of maybe not letting it become a distraction?
I think this is it.
Yeah.
After that, I'm assistant coach. There's not a lot of press things. I don't intend to be a press darling. I never have. I'll go on about do my business, try to be as good an assistant as I can to Coach Binford, and stay pretty businesslike.
Do you anticipate this just being kind of a 1-year experiment?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things fell in place and make it work out. Clearly, again, I mentioned Lindsay, her senior year, my wife's in, 100% because she knows she's going to come to as many games as we can as well. Anyway, she's willing to pick up a lot of slack at home, and yet we're still going to have to scramble to try to get to the boys' games, the other daughters' games, and then be around. So,
what does your wife think about you taking on this job?
She likes it when I coach. I think that probably save some husband-wife strife. We don't have to sit next to each other in the stands. That doesn't work out very well. And so anytime she can get me away from her and vice versa during a game, it's probably good for both of us.
All right, thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.